If you're trying to program a Marantec keyless entry and you're having issues with the keypad recognizing your remote control, then stick around and we'll give you 3 tips on maybe how to solve that. Let's get to it. Before we start, I just want to recommend that you watch our previous video on how to program a Marantec keypad, where we take you from step 1 to the final step of programming. We also give a couple other tips in that video. So if you've already seen that, then maybe you're still having issues, then this video should help you. But check that one out first if you haven't seen it, and then if you're still having issues, then come check this one out. In that video though, we mentioned 2 things that you should do. And the first one is to make sure that you have a 315 megahertz remote, so it matches the same frequency as the Marantec keypad. So on the back of the remote, you'll see that it's printed on there and it says 315 megahertz. And so that's one of the things that you'll want to make sure that you do first. The other thing is to replace the battery in the remote, especially if it's been used for the last 6 months or longer. You want to have a really strong signal coming from your remote to the keypad. Now our first tip is you're going to want to make sure that you have a Marantec remote. And we say that because in the last couple years we've noticed a lot of knockoff type remotes being sold online, especially on Amazon. And they are a lot cheaper, but they also are not made by Marantec. They make them look just like a Marantec remote, so just by looking at it you won't know. So you want to make sure that it is actually made by Marantec. That way you're going to get the best quality type of remote to program to your keypad. We found that we've gotten a number of emails over the last 1.5 years or so from homeowners that have purchased remotes from Amazon and other websites thinking that they're Marantec remotes, and they just can't get them programmed to either the operator or use them to program their keypad. And we come to find out that once they send us some pictures, we're like, no, those aren't really Marantec remotes. They're knockoffs. So there could be quality issues with those remotes or something, I'm not sure. But to be sure to get the best that you can use for programming, make sure it's a Marantec remote. And to double check it, most of them will have Marantec printed right on the bottom, along the bottom of the remote. Some of them might not though. But on the back, it'll say model and they'll say digital 382 2-channel remote. I don't know if you can read that, but that's Marantec branded remote. If it has a GDR or -2 or something like that, that is not a Marantec remote. The second tip we have for you is how you use your remote when you're programming the keypad. And by that we mean typically you'll take your remote and you'll point it towards the numbers on the keypad so the keypad can pick up the signal from the remote. Now we've programmed dozens of keypads over the years, and we have found that the back part of the remote actually puts out a little bit stronger signal than if you were to point it head on. So what you do is you'll press and hold your number 3 button. These 2 little lights come on in the center, and then you'll take your remote and press your button right there, and the 2 lights blink and go out, and that means that it took the signal. And so if you use the back part of the remote when you're going through that programming process, you might have a little more success than if you were to point it head on and move it around. So give that one a try for tip number 2. And the final tip we have for programming the keypad using the remote is to open the remote itself. So you want to take a coin, usually a dime works best, but you can use a quarter or a penny, and you put it in the base or the bottom part of the remote. There's a little slot there, and you turn it, and you can pull the 2 halves of the remote apart. So you have 2 halves there. And then if you look inside, you'll see this green circuit board. Now this green circuit board on the one side has your battery, and on the other side you'll see these 2 small white buttons, and this is what makes contact when you press the buttons on the outside of the case. We have found that if you take it out, you're going to get the strongest signal that you can It seems a little odd that the plastic case would cause any interference with the signal, but even just a slight little bit of interference, I guess, maybe makes it a little more difficult for the keypad to pick it up. So when you take your keypad and you press and hold your number 3 button, those two lights come on, and this top button is the one that's programmed to my opener, so I just push that button and the two lights on the keypad are blinking. Now you can enter your 4-digit PIN number that you want and press your enter button to program it. And that's the best way, if nothing else works, to get the signal from your remote to your keypad. After that, you just put the circuit board back in the case and snap the two halves together, and you got a remote ready to go. We hope you found these tips useful, and if you did, please give us a thumbs up. If you're in need of a Marantec remote or a keypad or another part, we'll list the links in the description below. If you have any questions, you can email us at youtube@garageDoorZone.com. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you on the next one.